Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and I'm really excited to bring you my interview with Blue Broussard from 1701 Barbecue in Beaumont, Texas. I've been wanting to do this for a little while. He just opened the restaurant in December. They had plans to open in August, but we all know what 2020 was like, and he explains in detail what happened and why it had to get delayed, but it all makes sense. It seems like the area has really taken to his restaurant, so it all happens for a reason, I guess, as they say. I love this because I felt like I was listening to these stories from Blue. He's a great storyteller, and he knows so much about the history of his family. I think he knows more than anyone I've ever talked to in general about their family history, and they still have the home of his great-great-grandfather. It's been restored. It's just that's it's just, we talk a lot about the history, the family history. They have a mortuary business, and we talk about that. And he talks about the Civil War and how the connection. There's a lot of history at the beginning of this, and it's really interesting. I think you'll really dig it. And then we get into the barbecue joint and to how things came about with the barbecue, and then all about the concept and what they're serving. The menu isn't this massive menu, but it's very detailed and it's very Blue, and it makes a lot of sense, and it just sounds fantastic, and you know it's a place that you want to visit. It's interesting. It's off the 10 freeway, and the 10 is here in California. It starts in Santa Monica at the Pacific Ocean, and it goes all the way through to Florida. I think it's to Jacksonville. I was looking at the map. You can't see his restaurant from the freeways. I'll put a map below to the restaurant, so that way it'll make it easy for you to find it. But I know that it's going to be on your list. Beaumont is about 50 miles northeast of Houston, so if you're in Houston for barbecue, head out there. Make sure you get there early, though. They do sell out. He has beef ribs every day, which is kind of cool. I wanted to throw that in. But his menu sounds wonderful. His food sounds wonderful. The desserts sound great. There's a lot of attention to detail in everything that he does. And with the barbecue joint, that's very much the same. So I can't thank Blue enough for taking the time. It's a really fun interview. I know you're going to dig it. And like I said, I know that you're going to want to go to 1701 Barbecue. And the Kevin's Barbecue Joints podcast and YouTube show is brought to you by Centex Smokers. You can check them out at Centex_smokers on Instagram. That's the best way. Follow him. See the pits. Pits are gorgeous. Just beautiful, beautiful work that Michael is doing there. Give him a DM if you want to quote. They're about 4 to 5 months out right now, which is pretty quick for a lot of people, which is really quick for most pit builders. He's been doing this since he was a kid, so he has a lot of experience, and the newest stuff that he puts out is just every time something new comes out, I'm blown away. Again, that's Centex_smokers. I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com. Check it out. If you're digging these, please subscribe. That way you don't miss out. At the end, stay safe, stay sane. And Blue, thank you so much for doing this.
Well, good morning, Blue. How are you?
Doing great, man. I'm just sitting across the street in an office from the restaurant. Been over there this morning, getting things going, and the guys in the pit room were nice enough to let me step away for a little bit and come visit. So.
That's nice. It's really fresh too. What was it December? Did you guys open in December or was it late November?
Yeah, we opened up December 1st. We've been rocking right along now. So yeah, just pretty new venture for us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and there's a lot of different things I want to get into, but first off, what is Beaumont like?
So Beaumont we're about 90 miles, kind of, I guess, east, kind of almost northeast of Houston. We're only about 30 miles away from the Louisiana border. Beaumont's got about 120,000 people, but there's also some surrounding communities of Port Arthur, Orange, or some other towns that kind of make up what we all call the Golden Triangle or Southeast Texas.
Okay.
And they're all pretty close to each other. So if you take in, that whole area, you're looking at over 300,000 people.
Oh, that's a decent amount of potential business.
It's a lot more than you think. But there's just like every town, we've got a lot of smaller communities around those, and I actually live in one of the smaller communities called Finette, and it's only like a couple thousand people. So, but we're all relatively close to Beaumont. A lot of people work within the Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange area. Yeah, I just kind of grew up a small town kid, and in that little community of Finette, still live out there to this day. Our family's been in this area for a very long time. With the birth of my son, now we're 7 generations here.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So our family has a lot of history here. Whenever we were thinking about starting this whole barbecue thing, we definitely wanted for it to be here in the Beaumont area. because it is important to us. This whole area is home to us and has been home for our family for a long time.
What was that first generation doing? Not, it's a little off topic, but what did they?
It's yeah. So oddly enough, I know a lot about my family history. We've got it tracked all the way back to the 12th century. My last name
That
is,
is,
yeah, it's crazy. My last name is Broussard, and so that's all comes from a French background. So our family originally came from France, and they traveled over to Nova Scotia, and they were exiled from Nova Scotia, and they were part of the first Acadians that came to. First, they went to the Dominican Republic, and then they went to settled in the Louisiana, New Orleans area.
okay.
And so my family back then, whenever they got to Louisiana, they were all cattle raisers. And so they, over the years, they eventually kept heading further east or further west from New Orleans,
Makes sense.
towards Texas in search of new grazing lands for their cattle. And my great grandfather settled in this area just a little bit south of Beaumont, and that was in the mid 1850s. And we've been here ever since.
Do you guys own the same property that was, or do you pass by some places that used to be my great grandfather's home? Or
yeah, we interesting about that. We actually have still, and it's still intact. It's just a few years ago, my father did a complete restoration of it, but we have my great grandfather's home. The construction on that was completed, I believe, in 1859, and so it's just it's
amazing.
so it really is. You know, whenever you look at this part of the country that we're in, and especially this part of Texas, there's not going to be that many things that, you know, date back further than that compared, like if we were on the East Coast or the Northeast Coast. There's a lot of older you know, buildings and things like that, but to be able to have that and still have that in place is really cool.
Wow, he restored it in the interior and the exterior of it.
Yes, it's
That is amazing.
it is, and it's a little smaller Acadian style home, but just for it to be, I mean, all the original woodwork, everything is still in it. It's really neat.
Yeah, and I think, and part of me is super. My dad was a woodworker, and he built furniture, and he and I in a past life sold furniture. So I understand craftsmanship in that sense too, and woodworking. But I think I've also, because of the pandemic, I've watched a lot of HGTV. So I've watched a lot of like barnwood builders, and it's amazing to see how people put things together back then, and the craftsmanship and how detailed things were. That's really special. I've never spoken to anyone that has that sort of connection, nor still has that object, that house is still in your family. That's fascinating. It's just amazing. And your family is in the mortuary business, right? Now.
Yes. So my grandfather, I was just telling you about, that we still have his home. One of his sons moved in from the small Finette community, moved into Beaumont. That was my great grandfather, and just like his father, he was into ranching. He was really known for his horsemanship, and he went to work for a gentleman here in Beaumont that owned a livery stable, and that would eventually turn out to be his father-in-law. And so, if you look back at the history of funeral homes in the United States, you know, before the Civil War, there really were not that many funeral homes, because the Civil War was really the first time in our history of our country where deaths were occurring away from people's homes.
Okay, that makes sense.
So this is in the late 1880s, 1889 to be specific. My great grandfather opened up the first standalone funeral home parlor, as it was called back then, in the downtown Beaumont area, and it was a Broussard livery stable and undertaking company. A lot of the people back then didn't just open up a funeral home; they either had a livery stable where they would have means of transportation, say a horse and carriages, or they may have had a lumber store or a general store. Maybe those families went into helping assist building caskets. Yeah, that dates back quite a while. But another thing that we're proud to hang our hat on is that that is still a family business, and myself, my sister Jamie, and my dad Jim are still very, very involved in that. And so that's been going on within our family for 5 generations now. So again, just another thing that may be kind of unique to us, but we're proud to still be carrying that torch. And
it should be. And this is really interesting, and people probably are like, why are they talking about this? This is a barbecue thing, but this is life, and this is also we're leading into this, and I'm very curious, and this is something so unique to the show, to anything like to these chats that I do, and I'm fascinated by this. And so then you went directly. Were you going to just take on the family business, or how did you get into barbecue and food?
Yeah, so I told you I grew up in a small town of Finette, and it was just small town life. I grew up. My dad has some land there in Finette, and that's where I grew up. We had cows, horses, the whole 9 yards. I was always the kid outside, helping out with those daily activities, or always enjoyed hunting and fishing. So I never really saw myself going into our family business. But I guess about the time I turned 16 or so, finally got my driver's license, and I started being around it a little bit more. Started officially working there. Really saw what my dad did every day whenever he went in to the office, and I really saw that it was, and I saw what my grandfather did at the time he was still working, and I realized what a good and kind of a noble profession.
Without a doubt.
I kind of took to that naturally, kind of went with that path after being, exposed and being around it. Went to college at Sam Houston State University, which is in Huntsville, Texas, a little bit north of the Houston area. After I got out of school there, went to another school in Houston to get licensed for a profession within the funeral service industry. Yeah, early 20s, I was doing that full time. Did that, every single day for many years.
Does that take an emotional toll on you?
To say that it doesn't, or to say that, a lot of people will ask us, oh, you must get used to that, or this or that. You're not human if those things don't take a toll on you. So you just you do your best to be compassionate and to treat others the way that you would want to be treated. It's obviously one of the most difficult time in anybody's life. Again, it's our family is really proud to be able to say that we've truly always put the families that we serve, their needs, put those first and foremost, even above our own. And that's always made us be able to sleep a little better at night, knowing that we're trying the right thing for people. And it's just like with anything else that you do in life. Whenever you're sincere with people, whenever people know that you're honest and that you're trustworthy, people can see that, and it speaks volumes. And again, that's just another reason why I'm proud that our family is still involved in our business, and I know my sister and my father feel the exact same way.
And you have to continue that on for generations, and I'm sure it's because of the small community. There are people there are people like there's crossover like that. With COVID, is this a different time? Is this a harder time?
We're obviously different parts of the country or experience different things, and they have in terms of just how we handle things daily. It's whenever just like everybody else across the country, whenever the news first came out about the COVID and certain restrictions and whatnot, it was certain times we couldn't have certain types of gatherings or had to limit those. I mean, that's tough for everybody, because naturally whenever a child is born, whenever somebody gets married, whenever there's a death of a family member, our natural thing as humans is for us to reach out to each other together and to be able to show our support. Yeah, those types of gatherings were certainly limited, and it's was really tough for for our team there at Broussard as well. Just trying to navigate and manage through, all the protocols there, and try to at the same time still try and honor the person's life,
Yeah.
of the person's death that has occurred. So it was definitely some challenging times, and we're still navigating through things daily as a
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like
there's
everyone else. Yeah.
no easy way to say that, really. So I mean,
No, there's not. And
trying to do our best.
so, but with opening a restaurant during this COVID, it's really crazy. You had a food truck first, right? Were you starting out on a truck first?
Yeah. So I've heard. Actually, talking about barbecue. Sorry, I went on that.
I love no, and
but it's
I'm
all
gonna
good.
I'm gonna keep most of it because it's life, and I think a lot of people when they write me about these, they kind of like, because they get to know the person. My whole goal, and I think I've mentioned this probably a million times, but is to get to know you better so that when they come visit, they feel like they know you better, and they maybe it's like a friend, or at least they have some kind of connection to you. So that way, when they do talk to you, or check out your pits or whatever, it's just like a first introduction. So that's your life, and that's where you came from, and that's what's important. That's what you're not just a barbecue guy. It's you're blue. You have a past and a life. So then what's the transition? How did you open up the food truck?
Yeah, we in 2015, a good friend of mine, his name is David Thompson. He and I just started. Or earlier before that, he and I started hanging out a lot, and we both had a passion for cooking, whether it be barbecue or just whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, even go further back than that, he and I were probably the guys that were always cooking at a party in college for friends, or having a fish fry, or whatever it was. Just always enjoyed entertaining people, and cooking, making sure the music's right for the crowd, all of those little things. So 2015, he and I bought a food trailer, and it was just on a little crazy idea to we really just wanted a really nice barbecue trailer. And we had set up at an event in downtown Beaumont before that, and we had a little pull behind smoker, and it was the first event that we'd ever done anything and tried to sell food at. We set up, we served some beef ribs, and we had pulled pork sandwiches. That's all we could fit, like a few things on the smoker. We couldn't accept credit card payments, anything like that. It was a cash only deal. But we did it, and we had a good response, and we had a really good time with it. And so that was another reason why we just wanted to start to get this food trailer. So
what were you guys called at the time?
At the time, so my name is Blue and his name was David. We were it was Blue Dave's Barbecue. So we had that, and that was all over the side of the food trailer. But we're both very very involved in our family businesses. His family has a chain of grocery stores here in our area. We were both very committed to our family businesses, and so we could only do that and set up somewhere and sell barbecue, probably honestly maybe like once every 2 or 3 months, or if it was like a fair or festival around here. We just both had very demanding schedules for our family businesses, and rightfully so. I mean, we had responsibilities to those companies. In 2019, I'd just gotten married, and pretty soon after that, have a little boy coming on the way. David's getting married, same thing, having a little boy come on the way, and we both said, you know what, time to hang up the barbecue hat, and we'll sell the trailer, and we're forever done with barbecue, kind of thing.
That's famous last words.
Exactly. So the trailer goes, and we're both through with barbecue, going on to our to live our lives.
Yeah.
And, so he and I are both still cooking every now and then at little functions, and I happen to be cooking at one of them here in town, and it was for a lot of people, and we were just handing out just some little sampling of briskets, and my sister happened to be there, who obviously we were talking earlier is one of our business partners with the funeral home. I jokingly told her, because I could see her response, she was watching people eat, and I think it was really the first time that she'd ever been anywhere where we were actually serving that many people food. And I jokingly told her that I said, hey, I said, once we get through this event, I said, I know you've kind of brought up, maybe doing some different things, throughout town, as far as some new business ideas. I said, why don't we maybe think about doing like a barbecue restaurant? And so we kind of planted that seed, and I thought that was the end of the conversation. But the next day, she called me in, and we just sat down. She said, "Hey," she said, "we need to talk." And she said, I really think we need to talk about this some more and really dive into this and think about it some, because like I said, I mean, I think that was really the first time that she saw people's responses from the food. I'd told her about it before, and but I had her there and had her attention there. So
yeah. But a quick aside, had you traveled that much outside? Had you been to Central Texas? Had you been places and had barbecue? Because I think I remember reading that you did study online and you study things, because there's a lot of resources these days to do this. But
yeah, there is. So yeah, I mean, I grew up cooking just like a lot of guys, probably just not what we're doing now necessarily. It was a lot more like direct heat stuff, like pork ribs, chicken, those kind of. We grew up doing that kind of stuff every weekend. So I haven't really traveled to that many places within the state of Texas, which would probably surprise a lot of people. Like, I've never been to Franklin Barbecue. I've never been to a lot of places. I've been to a few of them, but not near as many as a lot of people would think. And so I was staying home a lot, but I was, over the course of the years, obviously I'm just into cooking, so I was very aware of what was going on.
Gotcha.
Over the last 10 years, just through keeping up with things on the internet, reading books. I've watched every YouTube video I can on how to cook a brisket, and still do, or just anything to do with barbecue, and continue to read books and things like that. It's just what I'm into. Whenever I'm not into that many things, but whenever I get into something, like, I dive headfirst into it, and I want to know everything there is about it. It's just like I'm that same way with fishing as well. I love to go. I love to fish. It's all just been kind of digging and researching and seeing what I could find out, and I continue to do that to this day.
Which is kind of nice for someone that's listening to this or watching this that lives in a small town somewhere way outside of Texas, but maybe they've had good brisket, or they've at least even just seen it and thought there is potential. You cooked a lot, so you had experience with touching and feeling and doing things, but there are people you don't have to live in Austin or outside of Austin, or to live in Houston or Dallas to put together great barbecue or good barbecue.
Yeah.
But it does take, obviously it takes hard work. It takes a lot of time, a lot of passion, a lot of mistakes. So then when you had that sit down with your sister, did you think, okay, well, now we need to start looking for locations, or were you, or I have to really dial in my skills, or how, like what
so that evening, like, I went home and I talked with my wife Rachel, and I was telling her about it, and I said, what would you think, like, if I did this, if we did this? And without a doubt, she instantly said, "You need to do it." She said, it'll work out. It'll work out. And so again,
wow, that's nice.
That was reassuring as well. But yeah, so I was talking with my sister that day, and so we're try to plan things out. She and I do, and as well as whenever we're talking with my dad about things. So obviously, the first thing we decided that we needed to have a business plan. Well, I don't think she knew how quick I would have that together. Within like 2 days, I had the entire business plan, together. I'd had some time to think about it beforehand.
It was brewing in the back of your head.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually had we have an event center here in Beaumont, and within that property, in the same parking lot, there's a little building that we have where our restaurant is now, 1701 Barbecue, and it'd been just sitting there basically as a little storage building for many years. So it's it kind of made sense for us. We had the building, and made sense for us to be able to make some use out of it. It's in kind of what we call the old town part of Beaumont. It's on the way to downtown. Our main highway that runs through here, obviously Interstate 10 runs through Beaumont, and that's where a lot of the foot traffic is, a lot of the restaurants are. But we're off the beaten path a little bit. You have to literally exit, and if you were coming from out of town, you wouldn't be driving by us, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'll put a map to where you are below, so that maybe so you can't see it from the 10.
Yeah, you're not going to see it from Interstate 10. So like if you're in Houston and you're traveling to New Orleans for the weekend or something like that, you're going to have to exit Calder to get to us.
And it's on Calder, right?
Yeah, it's on Calder. It's and then it's 1701 Barbecue, and it's at 1701 Calder. So we got real original with the name there. So
yeah, for a second when I had forgotten that I had read that it was the address, but I was thinking it has to do something with his history, with his family's history, or I'm sure there's a 1701 something that I'm sure it was an important date somewhere in your life. You could probably find it.
Yeah, I know. I've tried. I'm still working.
It's the address, which is common for a lot of businesses. And it's easy to remember. I think it's easy to remember. 1701 sounds really easy to remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in 2019, is that when you guys started the build out, or was it? And was this is late 2019?
Yeah, this is I guess late 2019, if I'm remembering correctly, when we first kind of started talking about it.
That was when everything was kind of normal in the world.
Yeah. So everything's kind of normal then. I started doing some demo work in the building. It's an old building. It's a very, very small. It's a small building, got a small footprint, but it's a cool building because it was built in the early 40s, 1942, I think to be exact. It had some drop down ceilings that weren't original to the building. I started tearing some of those things out, and we met with the city in March just to kind of talk about some of our plans for the building, to see what they wanted for codes and whatnot. And everything was going great. We were supposed to get our permits. This is in 2020. Supposed to get our permit like a week later, and then City Hall shuts down. This is whenever everything across the nation starts shutting down. We definitely had some setbacks, with getting our permits and whatnot. We were supposed to get them in like a week later in March, and I don't think we got them until June or July, because you couldn't go meet with anybody in person, obviously. Yeah. So everything was handled by email, and you would think in today's time that might actually speed some things up, but it didn't. It was whenever everybody was first starting to work from home, and it was just kind of new for everybody.
There was an odd panic that people
exactly.
didn't quite know what was, because I think even in the back of my mind I was thinking, will society just break down? Like I didn't know what. No one knew what. And people kept saying, why are people buying toilet paper? I think people thought society might break down and we might not have anything. So that it does make sense, and people are probably trying to get acclimated. Were you planning on opening in the summer before?
Yes.
Was that your idea before?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just probably the story of any other restaurant. You've got a target date, and then you actually end up hitting that target date. Like, it's always going to be like 6 months after what you think it's going to be. We were definitely thinking like at the start, August of 2020, we'd be opening. And in reality, that was December the 1st of 2020. But I mean, we made it through. It's we, not to say we expected that, but we didn't set ourselves up for disappointment in those regards, because it was just the reality of the situation.
Did you do all the build out yourself?
No, I did not. We've got I'm pretty fortunate. My father-in-law is a home builder, and so we started. I jokingly again just kind of told him like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a barbecue restaurant. Would you think your company would be interested in looking at some things and whatnot? And turned out that they were, and so we were able to work pretty well together and get some good things done in a timely manner.
Did you think about COVID, and did you think of like more of a takeout? Did it change the way your business model? Did it change the way you wanted to set things up because of the potential with the pandemic?
So I guess kind of two parts to that. I knew the way that I wanted the layout of the restaurant to be. Again, it's a very, very small space, the restaurant itself. I knew that I wanted it to be counter service, and a lot of your listeners will know, but to anybody who may not, I knew that I wanted, whenever customers come in to dine, I knew that I wanted the customers to see us cutting the meats and actually plating the food. There's a lot of barbecue restaurants do it differently. That's just what I had always envisioned. Mm-hmm. And I'd been to a few places where they were doing that, and I really liked it, and just kind of naturally kind of gravitated towards that. So I was gonna have that set up regardless, even if we could never ever allow people to a restaurant again ever. Like we would have had it set up, and I would have found a way to put it on Facebook Live or something whenever we
have like a TV outside and then have like a camera and
Yeah.
you can see that one. Yeah, no, it's
So we
sad.
were,
I'm glad that didn't happen.
yeah. But so I was, determined that that's the way that we were gonna
Okay.
be set up. As far as, if whenever we were eventually able to open our doors, as far as if they were going to close down dining completely and not allow diners inside restaurants at all, that was one of the things that I knew that I didn't have any control over. So I mean, not to say I didn't worry about it, but I didn't spend too much time worrying about it because I really thought for sure that we'd still be able to get food out to people somehow, some way. I just didn't know how.
So with the build up to it, so you probably already had crafted the menu, you had ideas. Did you get pits and you have pit hands, you have a team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the build up was a little scary because we were obviously with COVID going on, we were getting some setbacks as far as with inspectors being able to come out. I started talking to people, I guess, in about August, and if you start talking to people about potentially hiring them, you kind of obviously need to kind of give them a start date.
Yeah.
So I was telling them, hey, we're hoping to be going by October. Well, come October, we're still not ready. So I definitely had some concerns about that. Hey, we told people we were going to have a job for them in October, and we don't right now. Yeah, there was a lot of communication going on there, back and forth. Yeah, just we've got getting the smokers in the pit room, and there was a lot going on, a lot of buildup.
Where did you get your smokers from, or did you have them built somewhere locally?
Yeah, I've got we've got 3 smokers in the pit room right now, and we've currently got another one being built. We've got 2 of the smokers in there. I guess let me back up. All the smokers that we have in the pit room, they were all 2 of them were a gift from a family friend, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, and one of them actually I got as a wedding gift from the same family, which is a pretty cool wedding gift.
Such a cool gift.
And another pit was actually built by 2 of our family friends, and it just kind of over the course of the years, people find out that this is what you're into, or this is what you're doing, and they try to help out any way that they can, and it's like what more of an awesome gift could you?
That's amazing. Are they 1,000-gallon or 500?
So one of them I think is like a 350. It's a lot smaller than what you would think it would be, and the other 2, they look like propane tanks, but they weren't propane tanks. But I had to guess, one of them is going to be close to like a 750. Another one's going to be close to like a 500. The one we're getting built right now would be close to like dimensions if they were still doing like a 750 propane tank. It'd be about that size. Yeah.
Okay. But they're being custom built, and
Yeah.
and you need that because it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like from day one you had lines.
Yeah. So we opened December 1st, and it's one of those things that you don't have any control over if people come or not. And that's what I told all of our folks there at 1701, as far as our team, all of our staff. I said, one thing we don't have any control over is if people come or not. I said, but the one thing we do have control over is the food that we're putting out, and being nice to people, the hospitality that we bring. And I said, even if on day one, if there's just one person that shows up, if we know that if we're doing our job, I really feel like we're going to be okay. We were fortunate enough, December 1st, the first day that we opened, we looked out the door and we had a really good line of folks that had come to support us on our opening day. And
was that like local people that had known about you, or was that through? And I think I don't. Did they start bugging you in December? Or was I? I don't know. I'm trying to remember when I started, because somehow you popped up on my radar pretty quick.
Yeah, we did probably. So I guess about October, like I started gearing up for December 1st to be our launch day, and so in November, probably about November 1st, we started just cooking up there daily, and it was good training for me as well as everybody else working up there. And we started inviting family, friends, coworkers up there to come in and eat lunch, just to kind of give us a little stress test and give us some feedback on some
Smart.
things. So we did that for, yeah, probably at least 3 weeks or so before we opened up the doors. And of course, you open up the doors day one, it's still, you're panicking on the inside, but it was better than just, opening up the doors and have not done any of those practice rounds.
Yeah.
We really appreciative of our community for showing up the way that they did, and the way that they continue to do. We're just, again, I've said it 3 or 4 times, we're just really, really fortunate for the turnout that we've had. We tried to do a good job, as far as documenting, even before, I guess probably about June or July, we started our social media and announced that, we were 1701 Barbecue on Facebook, Instagram, those things. And we tried to do a good job of just showing updates. Hey, this is what we're going to be doing here. This is a style of food that we're cooking. We give construction updates. We do little walkthrough videos. We post pictures of food that we were cooking or thinking about cooking. And so
I think then that's when I have no concept of time. So that must be when I was starting at least to pay attention, like what is going on?
I forget what day it is all the time. Yeah. And so, I knew whenever our part of Texas is really unique. The Beaumont and the Golden Triangle part, as far as Beaumont, Port Arthur, and Orange, because it really has its own style of barbecue. This is where like the beef links that are in the beef casing. This is Beaumont is the home for those. There's a barbecue place here called Patillo's, and they were one of the first ones to start cooking those, and probably one of the, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if the oldest, but one of the oldest probably continually barbecue places still going in Texas. They're all of the 1701 barbecue is we wanted to focus on for a lot of our proteins that we're cooking. We wanted to focus on like a Central Texas style influenced barbecue. And so the reason that I tell you that the Beaumont barbecue scene is so different, because unlike the entire rest of the state, we really have our own little unique barbecue here. And if there's anybody else, that was doing it full time in the Beaumont and the surrounding areas, that had anything, kind of like this, a Central Texas style influence, we weren't aware of it. And that's kind of the barbecue that we started serving on our trailer about 6 years ago. And we had a really good response to it. It wasn't anything that we created or that we can take credit for, but it was just something that wasn't being offered in our area. And you hear this story, a lot of different people popping up in different towns, but this was just happened to be the case for us. It's barbecue, but it was different than what the community was used to receiving. And for me, somebody like me or even somebody like you, it's not near as foreign, because I've been following what's been going on in the barbecue scene for a long time. But still to this day, we'll get people that come in and
sure.
Yeah, they've never had a beef rib before, or never had a brisket that was prepared the way that we're preparing them.
Oh yeah.
So we're the biggest thing that I wanted to do here is offer beef ribs daily on the menu. We've been able to do it daily up to this point. And there's some people in town that you may see them pop up on a menu every now and then, like once a month or on a weekend or something like that. But to be able to get it daily, there wasn't that in Beaumont like there would be at a like in Taylor or in Austin or any place like that. So
well, in a lot of places too, to be honest, just have beef ribs on Saturday maybe or something. It's not even. So let's talk about your menu. What is your menu? And you're open. Are you open Thursday through Sunday?
Yeah. So right now we started off Monday through Friday, but now we are Tuesday through Saturday. It's a lunch only spot. And that's for 2 reasons, really, kind of the location that we're in. It's like I told you, it's called Old Town, and it's really it's a business district. So a lot of people will commute to work in downtown, but a lot of people don't live in the downtown area.
Gotcha.
So it's a great location to catch the lunch crowd. That number one for that reason, and then number two is because just basically the style and the methods that we're cooking, and with our limited floor plan, to be honest with you, we couldn't really prepare for more than that one lunch service currently right now. But again, just to say how super proud I am of our community for supporting us, for us to move from that Monday to Friday to a Tuesday through Saturday. We did that in response to the community telling us that they wanted us to open on Saturday, and that was such a big leap that we were really afraid to do, because this part of town that we're in is a Monday through Friday business crowd, and to open on Saturdays is such
Means people have to come from,
Yes. So we've done it, and Saturdays have been our biggest. It's our biggest day of the week ever since we did it.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing.
So,
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, just an amazing
4 months in,
but just talking about our menu. Our menu is really small, and it is barbecue focused. We're 1701 barbecue, and we wanted to identify as a place, if you thought about barbecue in town, that you wanted to come to 1701. There's a lot of places in town that will do some barbecue, but they'll also do like some burgers and wings and things like that. And I like all those places, but I frequent them a lot. But we really wanted to just really focus on straight barbecue here. And again, it's got a lot to do with the footprint, and we're kind of limited in what we could do with the space.
So what proteins do you have?
Yeah, just a very, very straightforward menu. We've got brisket, we've got beef ribs, pork ribs, pulled pork. We've got some smoked turkey breasts, and then we're also making an in-house sausage as well. And that's really it. The only other thing that we might add, we've had it in kind of a research and development phase since we've opened. We just hadn't been happy enough with it put on the menu, as we're really trying to really dial in a boudin that we're making, but we want to do it a little different. We want to do it with our smoked pulled pork, and make some boudin with it. So again, we're 30 miles from Louisiana. A lot of Cajun French influence here. So we definitely have our eyes on being able to do that, but we just not.
You want, especially where you are, you want to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're at the point now to where there's a lot of local companies here that make really good boudin and make really good sausage, but we're kind of at a point now with what we're doing at 1701, where if we're going to serve it, we have to make it, because that's everything else on the menu that people are coming to get, they know that it's getting made there in house, and they know that we're putting our love and care into it. And I don't want to cheat that process, by any means. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of good companies here in town that are putting out some good products, but it's just that's what we want to stick with at 1701.
So down the road, do you think, like, not too far down the road, you'll have a sausage and a boudin, right?
That's the plan. That's the plan.
That's the plan. It seems like a lot of things that you planned out.
Have
come to fruition. So yeah.
Yeah, whenever I eat that boudin and I say that's the best boudin I've ever had, then that's when it'll be on the menu. So I don't know. I get a little weird about that stuff. I mean, I don't know. I say that, but I guess not. I mean, you do something, you want to be proud of it, and you want people to eat it and be like, that, man, that's, I've never had anything like that, or that's really, really good. So that's the whole reason we're doing this.
And what sides do you have?
Our sides, again, very, very limited. It's just, we've got a potato salad, and we make that in house too. The neat little twist that we put on that, which I love, is we put a sweet jalapeno relish in our potato salad. We got a cilantro coleslaw that we make, which is pretty, again, we're in big Cajun country here, so a lot of restaurants, a lot of people around here are used to going and getting like fish tacos or shrimp tacos, things like that. And it's kind of a blend between like a Cajun and a Mexican flared dish. So we've got a cilantro coleslaw that we do. We've got some pinto beans that we cook up, and every day they're a little different. May have some brisket in them, may have some of our sausage in them. And then we're also doing some collard greens right now.
Do you have a dessert at all too?
Yeah. That's kind of, yeah, that's ever evolving. I'm definitely not a baker or not a sweets person. But we're fortunate enough to have a lady on staff, and that is her passion. And from day one, whenever I started
That's
talking
nice.
with her about it, I said, hey, I said, we'd really like to give you an opportunity to, to kind of explore that and get creative with it. And so every day, probably once a week, we're whipping up new things or trying this or
That's
that.
fun.
But yeah, it is. It's cool. And, the cool thing is that everybody knows that whenever they come in, that it was made fresh that day. And so if we run out of like a certain dessert or anything, or run out of a certain meat, to say, it's really, everybody's pretty understanding. I mean, they get it that we're trying to make things as fresh as possible. But yeah, on the dessert menu, pretty regular, like a banana pudding, blackberry cobbler. We've had she's made some I think like a banana bread pudding, which, I mean, it's just good stuff that goes with barbecue.
No, and
Yeah.
it's nice because it cuts the barbecue. That's a great compliment.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like great to have her. And even with all of our sides, I mean, I started cooking some of those sides whenever we had our food trailer. And my wife also, she likes to cook and entertain just as much as I do. So a lot of the sides that we have at the restaurant are sides that either she's created or it's kind of been like a collab between she and I. Like I was maybe doing potato salad this way, and she was doing potato salad this way whenever we'd have people over, and we try different things. So she's just as into cooking as I am, and she's helped me a lot with with menu items and just all things in general with the restaurant.
Is it fun to see people from pretty far away starting to show up?
Yeah, that's it really is. We've again, we're 90 miles from the Houston area. So somebody's either got to be passing through or really just coming here on kind of a barbecue tour. We've had people that are coming over from the Houston area and coming out and kind of camping out, I guess you'd say, before we open the doors. So yeah, that's really neat to see, and we don't take that for granted that people are making plans, and it's neat to see young families showing up with their kids,
Oh, that's great.
just coming to kind of make an event out of this. And again, it's you'd really everybody would kind of really have to be familiar with the Beaumont area to really describe the location where we're at. But to see them coming out at this particular location and supporting us like they have on Saturdays is just I mean I don't have words to describe it. I mean, just super proud that of our community and the people that are supporting us.
No, I think if anyone's listened to this, they know that's really how you feel. It comes across. It definitely comes across. And you're using aren't you using really good quality meats too?
Yeah, we're we wanted to focus on really small scale menu, but using the best meats that we could. So yeah, all of our briskets that we're cooking, they're all prime briskets. They're all USDA prime. What we're cooking right now, we're getting our briskets from 1855. All of our beef ribs are from 44 Farms, and anybody that may be familiar with their products, I mean, it's you look at the marbling on those beef ribs, and I mean, it's really it's one of the best of the best. And we try to continue that into to all of our meats. I mean, like for instance, all of our sausage that we make, it's all from the trimmings from our brisket, so it's an all beef sausage. So the sausage that you eat whenever you come to 1701, it's all made with ground meat that's all prime ground meat. So I mean, yeah, that's you're not going to get a better ingredient to go into your sausage than that.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So if anybody ever kind of, for the most thing, everybody understands, and whenever they come to 1701, they know that's what we're focused on. But yeah, I mean, you may have the person every now and then, may kind of question the price, of a menu item or anything like that. But again, pretty fortunate we're able to talk to those folks and let them know that, hey, what we're trying to do here, and we're really using the best ingredients here. That's why you may see this reflection on some pricing, and then once you do that, they totally get it, and it's all good.
I think people are starting. At least I think people are understanding that sometimes it's interesting how people will post a menu from somewhere across the United States, and then I'll see like in a Texas like a group on Facebook or something will say like, I can't believe that's that much per pound. Well,
Right.
also too, like you don't understand the rent of this place in New York or whatever, or wherever this is in Los Angeles, or it's
Right.
and it yeah, the meat prices combined with rent, combined with labor, everything. There's always all those components too that come into play. Is there anything that we've missed for all the different ways to get a hold of you? It's the website 1701barbecue.com, right?
Yeah, it's and obviously we're on just like everybody else, Facebook, Instagram. It's where we're the most active, again, just like everybody else. But yeah, I mean, we're posting on there daily or at least every other day, and try to stay on top of the game as far as responding to people.
I'm putting together a list. I'm going to publish it soon of what a first timer should get when they go to different barbecue places. And you gave me a great answer, and so I'll put a link to that below, so that way people can see kind of what, get an idea of what you would recommend a first timer order, because that's a nice, and some people, it's funny that you'll see the answer. Some people like gave me a sentence, and then someone like you gave me a good, and then I have another person from California that gave me like a paragraph. I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Like, it's interesting how like it all depends on the specific amount of time someone has probably at that moment to respond to me.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. I mean, I've listened to a lot of your shows, and I've
Thank you.
listened to a lot of your shows, listened to a lot of the Tales from the Pits guys.
Oh yeah,
And I mean, the whole
great.
time whenever I was over there, just demoing everything in 1701, I either had your podcast going or I'd have their podcast going.
I love those guys. Yeah, and you could tell how much they love barbecue. Like
Absolutely.
And what's sad is like I love it just as much as them, but I can't get out. Like I can't get out. Like I don't live in Texas currently. Anyone who is watching this or listening to this, I recommend their podcast for sure. Tales from. I'll put a link to their podcast too, because I love those guys.
Real quick, one of the best ones is whenever you were interviewing Brett's from Brett's backyard, and he let the people into his house.
Yeah. Yeah, he thought they were what, home inspect. What was it? I'm trying to remember. He thought they were like inspectors or something. It turned out to be they were LDS. They were they came in and they sat, and that was pretty amazing. That was, and I'm glad, like, and that's what I kind of love about this too, is that I'm kind of documenting little slices of time, but I need to revisit that one because that was hilarious. And the way he's like, I can't believe, Kevin, I can't believe what just happened. I let some people in my house, and they were shocked too. They were like, why are you letting us into Mars?
So he messaged me, and he said that he enjoyed the episode that we did with the Tales from the Pits guys, and I messaged him back and I said, well, I really enjoyed the one that you did with Kevin about it, because I was talking about that. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so, yeah. I need to promote that one again, just as a funny, because it was really unexpected, and it also shows like what he has obviously a lot going on in his mind. He has these, and he's so focused, and so he's very business minded, and then having some guys randomly come. I do think they were inspecting his house or something. Yeah. That was like 17,000 years ago, but it was that. Thank you. I love that one, and thanks for bringing that one up. I'll try, if I'm smart enough, I'll put a link below. I'm obviously not the most savvy at this. But very soon I will be getting on the road again, and I cannot wait to visit.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and I just thank you for all you do for the barbecue industry, man.
Well, thank you. I love it. Well, have a great day, and I'll talk to you very soon.
All right, man. Keep in touch. Thanks.
All right. Take care. All right. Thanks so much. Bye.